Welcome to Global CEO Magazine, where we have in-depth conversations, in-depth discussions with the corporate leaders. And as usual, ladies and gentlemen, we have here with us a corporate leader with an immense amount of experience, especially in the marketing field. So I would like to welcome Mr. Gayan Perera, who is the president of Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. Welcome to the show, Mr. Gayan.
Hi.
Now, I would like to start our conversation with the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing. Now, especially during the past couple of years, or let's say the past 3 to 4 years, Sri Lankan market has had faced a lot of disruptions. And how did the Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing help the Sri Lankan communities, help the Sri Lankan businesses to recover from those disruptions?
I would like to first actually reflect a little bit about SLIM. Of course, you know that Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing is a national body for the marketing profession in Sri Lanka, founded in 1970, then incorporated by a parliamentary act in 1980. And its mandate is to uplift the standards of the marketing profession and make it as the key driving force towards economic prosperity. So in that context, during the pandemic, especially during the pandemic, I think which was unprecedented. Out of all the crises, this was unprecedented. And where it was new to people, I think, similar to the world, it was new to Sri Lankans as well. So as marketers, I think first thing that we need to do is the perception change, and then thereby a behavioral change. So what we did was we came with this concept or a communication campaign called Restart Sri Lanka, with the blessings and the guidance of the Prime Minister office, because without a government support you cannot launch a national-wide campaign, purely to create that positive mindset in order to restart all the economic activities at individual capacity and as well as at entities or organizational capacity to restart what was halted during COVID, and to have that mindset to restart the economic journey. So I think we used a 360-degree campaign. We used all mass media, then also we used digital platforms as well as outdoor communication like hoardings, even we went up to 3-wheel stickers to take the message across the board. And we did a lot of peripheral activities also which lead into that. So like things like we did consultancy to SMEs, because SME sector was hampered the most from the COVID crisis. So we had a base of SMEs who have applied for our events. So what we reached them, and we wanted them to get that feel good factor, for them to get some relief by providing one thing, that mental relief, and on the other hand some guidance as to how they should manage in terms of marketing, branding, and especially manage the marketing channels, how to reach the customer, because that's the biggest challenge. So a pool of members, maybe our renowned marketers who volunteered to support, and everything was done virtual because at that time physical meetups were not possible. So all were created on virtual platforms. So apart from this, we also did something on the economic crisis also. So most of our activities were revolving around the pandemic because it went over 2 years. But in terms of the economic crisis, we did 2 initiatives. One was purely a communication campaign to get people to remit money in the proper formal banking system, because that was a time where we wanted the foreign currency to our reserve. So we actually created a campaign with the support of TV Dharana, and also we got the support of Sarva, which is a renowned advertising agency. 3 of us got together and we launched this campaign, and actually Dharana gave us a lot of airspace Not only that, even through our digital platforms, we took the message across. Then the main initiative was on nation branding, because at that time, I'm sure you would have recalled that Sri Lanka's brand equity was actually deteriorated because of our current bankruptcy. So therefore, we wanted to check actually where we stand with similar countries who were actually in par during that time. So we invested on a research, 13 million LKR on a research with an international research agency, that is Brand Finance, to carry out a research within the international community to check where we actually rank, and then what can be taken, what measures we can take as private entities as well as the state entities to correct the situation and elevate our rankings. So that entire program we carried out. There was a lot of conversation around it. We took a lot of conversation. We had actually we got TV channels also to support us, to give us airspace to talk about it. We also conduct physical forums where we got media as well as corporate entities to talk about Sri Lanka's brand equity. So those are the things that we did in terms of the crisis as a national body.
Now, you did mention about concepts like Restart Sri Lanka, which I believe is a very unique and an innovative project. So, tell us about the role of innovation when it comes to the field of marketing. How does it help a company? How does it help an entity to stay head and shoulders above its competitors?
Well, innovation is pivotal. I mean, without innovation, I don't think an organization can go forward in this current context, because everything is uncertain. So you need to innovate in everything that you do. So innovation may be in the products and services that you market or offer to your customers. It could be your business model which you need to innovate, or it could be any communication platform which you are using that needs to be innovated. So innovation can take all those forms. So most likely what we need to understand is in the current market context, customers are looking for ultra convenience, not convenient, it's ultra convenience. And secondarily, they want everything to be connected. They want a seamless, connection with all the activities that they do, their day-to-day activities. So they don't want things which are isolatedly operated. So in the context of these two elements, organizations must really work on their R&D and come up with innovative solutions in order to cater that. So as a national body, what we feel is what the country lacks is that platform to innovate. So we sometime back, we also supported that initiative soon after COVID. There was this Made in Sri Lanka initiative. So we were also a strategic partner for it, and we actually partnered with the government to carry out a sort of an exhibition for people to come and come with their inventions, especially during COVID time period with this new normal, how things could be done. Various products and services were brought into the play, but those were not actually consistent. Those were not taken forward due to the current political situation of these or political policies of the country. But other than that, there were some private entities and media platforms which carried out, startup programs like innovation challenges. There was a leading telco company which we also partnered. We partnered as a strategic partner for an innovation challenge. So you need to have those, mechanisms, think tanks, and workspaces for people to come and discuss freely about new ideas, especially in the field of tech. Because if you look at our big brother, India is far ahead in terms of tech innovation. I'm sure Sri Lankans are equally in terms of their education level, intelligence. They are at a very high stage. So we Sri Lankans. So I think what we need is that the facilitation for innovate. I think if that can be done, innovation can be nurtured very easily in this country.
is important for a company or an entity to guide through rough waters. Having a proper leader, having a proper steady leadership is also vital. So when it comes to leadership, what do you think the most important leadership qualities to ensure that your marketing efforts remain constant through a period of time and at the same time are relevant to the market conditions in the global context?
Yeah, I think in times of uncertainty, marketers, the sales and marketing professionals have to play a key role. They have to take the leadership because end of the day, they are the ones who keep the economic activities alive in an organization. So when such kind of a pandemic or some crisis takes place, marketing cannot take the back foot. They have to come to the front because they have the close links with the outer market or the external environment. They have to come and tell the management and the organization, okay, there is something like this happening or happen. This is what we need to do. So I think that you need that drive has to be there within the marketing profession. And some of the leadership qualities which marketers need to adapt is, first thing is nothing but resilient. You need to be that strong-headed, resilient mindset, saying that okay, under any circumstance, that I will ensure that I will deliver my brand promise. I will not disappoint my customers, saying that we have these sort of disturbances due to this economic turmoil or crisis. So we have to be focused and consistent in what we do. There can be disturbances, but we need to find the workarounds, because if you don't do that, your competitor will surely do that. Second thing is that you need to be resourceful, or in other ways I would say resource optimization. Resources are scarce and limited. You need to manage your resources. I think that's very important because marketers, especially I'm referring to the marketing budgets, this is the common issue. Because generally budget freezes or budget cuts are very common in an organization context. We can't stop that also. But in the meantime, marketers must know what are the ways and means, especially in communication. What are the economical communication medium which can create a lot of impact, but with a low spend. There are, with the social media or with the digital marketing, evolvement of the digital marketing, I think evolution, there is ample opportunities created in the digital space. So you have to use these things, experiential marketing. Those are the things where you can actually get your customers engaged rather than using probably your traditional mass media. So that's where you need to work on in terms of resource optimization. Another area would be synergy, because collaboration is something which comes in handy when it comes to a crisis or a challenging period, because you may not have the right capability sometimes to capture certain market opportunities. But there may be another entity who may not be directly competing, but sometimes complementing your business, who has that capability, where we can synergize and work together and probably explore market opportunities and exploit them. So synergies are essential, and I would always quote that together we rise together or we fall alone. So in this kind of a context, you cannot work in isolation. You have to find different entities. Across the industry, you may have to collaborate. So that's it. And one more thing that you may have to look at is your technical competencies. We have to be very thorough with your technical competencies, because in terms to, you need to innovate. Sometimes you need to use a lot of technological advancements in your operation. So you have to be adaptable to those, and also agile in what you do. I would say that quality should be agility. If you are not agile, if you are very rigid and fixed or firm, you will not be able to move in a very dynamic context. So those are the key leadership qualities that a marketer should inculcate in him or herself.
So the next question that I'm about to ask is, normally this question we direct to our guest here, especially based on their or his or her expertise in a particular field. But I think this would be a very interesting question because as the president of Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, you obviously have a broader perspective into the marketing fraternity, into the marketing field of Sri Lanka. So how do you see the marketing landscape evolving in Sri Lanka come the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, Sri Lanka is quite picking up in terms of the trends that are taking place in the world compared to some of the developing nations. So that's something good to see, so that we as marketers need to adopt those. For example, the most talk of the town is the AI revolution. So everybody talks about AI, but I think it's a buzzword, but I don't think people really know what AI is all about. They know halfway. So I think we need to be really thorough in this area. There should be a lot of education on AI. I think even Sri Lanka Institute of Marketing, we are also looking at expertise to get expertise and to see whether we could conduct courses and education. I see a lot of programs are done by Google, online programs are there, but I think for Sri Lankans, maybe we also need some physical programs done by experts, because now India is coming there. So at least if we don't have the right resources here, we have to actually get higher from our neighboring nations who are like India or even Singapore, whether we can get that expertise and give that knowledge to our people, because this is very essential. Number two that I see is data analytics. The power of, I would say, the power of data, because data today is very important. And complementing to my first point, AI. So with AI, with the use of AI, using a lot of customer data, today customization is possible in terms of, I would say personalization, in terms of giving solutions, products and services for your specific need that you identify through your intelligence using your data from your social media platforms. So all are interconnected, even company databases based on your past purchases. So a lot of e-commerce platforms are now using those. So Sri Lanka is also there, already there. So data science is very important. I think another area where we need to really look at giving knowledge, imparting knowledge, because if you look at in 2021 World Economic Forum, I think it was published that data science is on the top of the top 10 most wanted or demanded professions in the world. So data scientists are needed. I think that's also another area where we need to get ourselves equipped. And thirdly, in terms of ownership of products. So we see a lot of people, now it's in the West, it's already established. People don't want to own things, they want to subscribe. In other words, pay for what you use. So subscription models are now coming into play, content platforms. I think telcos are anyway using that. But now it is gradually coming for clothing, especially for expensive clothing. There are outlets which are coming into play where you can actually hire very expensive clothing for maybe about a couple of days or for a week. If you have certain functions, you don't own, you simply hire. Yeah. Even Airbnb too, even today real estate is also coming into that stage. So people don't want to get that burden of owning a fixed asset. Instead, subscription, lease, rent is more preferred. So that's another trend we need to look at, even that actually requires a change of your business model. The third point is actually people don't look at single solutions. I think I mentioned this in my previous point. They want a seamless connection of all events. So they are looking at, instead of solutions, single solution, they want ecosystems that will give them the total solution. Example, I'll simply quote an example which is very relevant. Now, if you can recall, during the economic crisis, especially the energy crisis, where petroleum fuels were very scarce, electric vehicles were like blooming in the market, especially for masses, the electric bikes. But the biggest problem they had was, although there are a lot of bikes in the market, there are only very limited charging points. So the charging point infrastructure was not established enough to cater the market. So if you are really coming into this territory, in order to capture the full market potential, you need to have the product, that is the electric vehicle, then the entire charging network which is spread across the country. Then you need to have probably a charging app to operate the charging process. And even you have to look at batteries. I think the biggest myth, or rather the barrier, is the battery. Whether, because battery is something which you cannot use after some time. So if you can replenish the battery, electric vehicles will move. So you need to think everything, and you have to own the entire value chain. Right from you bring down vehicles, probably you assemble the vehicle in Sri Lanka. You look at a mechanism where you can get batteries or even assemble the batteries, and even set up charging stations in all key townships. And also you have a charging app where people can easily charge. They can replenish through recharging system, like a reload system. So you have that payment platforms and everything in place. So that's called an ecosystem. So people would want to look at an ecosystem, a company or a brand which provides a total solution than a partial solution. So that's another area we have to look at. And I think finally, in terms of digitization, I think digitalization, I think we know everything is being digitalized. So we cannot get away from digital platforms. So that trend continues to go. Now in terms of e-commerce, now every business is looking at actually not 100% digital or 100% physical. You look at something called a phygital. That is physical combined with digital, because that's the way people want. They want convenience, but at the same time they would prefer to go from a pickup store and look at, or even to look at the product, to experience the product. At least you have to have some sort of use artificial intelligence or virtual reality, AR, VR tools to simulate that customer experience. So I think those are some of the key trends that are happening in the marketplace, which the marketers need to identify and lay out some plans well in advance to cater those.
So that marks the end of our conversation with Mr. Gayan Perera. Mr. Gayan, thank you for joining with us. Thank you for joining with Global CEO Magazine TV. And thank you for committing your time and effort to be here. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we would like to conclude our conversation with Mr. Gayan, and we hope to see each and every one of you with another episode on Global CEO Magazine TV. Until then, have a good day.